It's not easy having something relevant to say with each one of our studies, with each one of our sessions of study. When I started doing Genesis, I wanted this to be a fresh commentary, incorporating many other commentaries and some of my own ideas as I read and reread the book of Genesis. So today was one of the ones that was a little difficult, but let's see where it goes. And we're reading from Genesis chapter 27, 18 to 24. And I'll read all of the verses and then we'll unpack them. And he, now you see, he is Jacob. And he came to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here am I. Who art thou, my son?" And Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou biddest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit, and eat my venison, that thy soul may bless me." And Isaac said to his son, "How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord, thy God, brought it to me." I'll stop reading there and continue where I started writing about this. Now, verse 17 ended with Rebekah giving savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. Now it was all up to Jacob. Remember previously we said that Rebekah had a plan on how Jacob could get the birthright blessing. The birthright was already surrendered by Esau because he didn't care, he couldn't care less. But now there's that blessing. So as he came to his dad, like we just read, Isaac asked, "Who art thou, my son?" That's Jacob coming to his dad. See, he recognized Jacob's voice. And Jacob said unto his father, "I am Esau, thy firstborn." Had he only said that he was his firstborn, I think he might have been excused from lying. Because Esau had surrendered the birthright to him. But when he said, "I am Esau," he could by no means be excused. And here was the first big lie. So Isaac asked, "How is it that you found it so quickly?" As you may recall, at the beginning of this chapter, Isaac called up Esau and said, "Hey, I want to give you the blessing. Oh, get me some of that great meat that I love. Come back, cook it for me, and I'll give you the blessing because I don't know when I'm going to die." So Isaac had sent him out on the field. Rebekah had cooked up this plan, literally cooked up this plan, and then had Jacob perform it. See, after verse 17, which I just read, Rebekah gave him savory meat, bread which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. She expected Jacob to carry through with the big charade they were planning. I almost expect lights, camera, action. So Isaac asked, "How is it that you found it so quickly, my son?" And Jacob answered, "Because the Lord thy God brought it to me." This was the second big lie. I believe this was a bigger lie than all the other two, because it was not the Lord, but his mother that brought it to him. Not only that, think about it. He also brought the name of the Lord into his lie. If this had been me in the picture, and Isaac would have asked me, "How did you come back so quickly?" I might have joked about it and said, I got lucky. Would have been funny. Jacob was in so deep he couldn't turn back now. He already identified himself as Esau, the firstborn. And now he brought God into the picture. Said, "God provided me this. That's why I'm so fast." Apparently, that satisfied Isaac to some degree. But no. "Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not." Rebekah had already expected that. Jacob came closer and Isaac felt him. Then came the real reason for Isaac double-checking him. The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. See, Isaac couldn't see at this point in his life. 137 years old. But he certainly was sharp-witted enough to recognize what he heard. And he couldn't figure out how Jacob's arm and hands and his neck could be as hairy as his son's. He did not think that was possible. Rebekah was shrewd and inventive. So in verse 23, we read that every heavy scrutiny failed to uncover that this was not Esau, except it wasn't Esau's voice. Passing the test, Jacob would receive the blessing. That's what verse 23 says. Except something just did not sound right. It still sounded like Jacob. Folks, Isaac was not a stupid man. So Jacob had a final chance to come clean and admit he was Jacob when Isaac asked a final time, "Art thou really? Are you my very son Esau?" Now, if it had been Esau's voice, of course, he wouldn't have questioned it. But it wasn't Esau's voice. He had a double and triple check. See, Isaac was still suspicious. But like we said before, Jacob was past the point of no return as he answered, "I am." And here was the third big lie. These three big lies were totally inexcusable and would mark the course of Jacob's future life forever. He would be forever labeled as the usurper. Really? Isn't that what we learned of Jacob in our Sunday school classes? The great usurper usurped the birthright away from Esau. But you see, the reason we're studying this in the book of Genesis is so we could see the full big picture. And we'll see more of that in the next 2 sessions. Also, it certainly is ironic that in this deceitful helping God fulfill his promises, God's name would be sinfully called forth. Before we condemn Jacob too much here, let's examine what we do. I wonder how often we, I mean you and I, how often we in the 21st century have done something similar. Where am I going to? Well, I remember when I was in my mid-20s. I'm way much older than that now, as if you couldn't tell. When I was in my mid-20s, I remember having obviously lied. I'm not the only one. There are many others that do this. They've obviously been caught in a lie. And then they added, I swear to God. Or they say, so help me God. Have you ever done that? I know I have. I'm guilty as charged. And if you were to examine yourself, you could have done something similar. Jacob doesn't look so bad anymore, does it? Especially if we're honest with ourselves, right?